So let's talk about the fundamental difference between Bad Bunny's halftime show and TPUSA. Hi, my name is Stella. I'm a psychotherapist and social worker who studied both public policy and human behavior. So, of course, I'm going to speak on this. I'm also a Christian. I've been a lifelong Christian my entire life. I am an American, and I'm also a product of immigration. I also want this to be a safe space for dialogue. You do not need to be liberal, progressive, or left-leaning to engage with this video because I would really like to hear some polarizing thoughts from the other side as well. The key difference between Bad Bunny's halftime performance and TPUSA is unity versus division, love versus hate, community versus isolation. And what do I mean by this? What is one thing that you noticed about Bad Bunny's performance? There was nothing in his performance that perpetuated isolation, villainizing the other side, painting them as the enemy. It was all about community, union, togetherness, love. It was celebrating the beautiful parts of what makes this country the United States. It was not a smear political campaign against the right. Like I said, it was rooted in unity and love. Meanwhile, with TPUSA, it was all about division, hate, me instead of we, individualism instead of the collective. And parts of their ads and their entire performance was dedicated to slandering the left, slandering immigrants, slandering the LGBTQIA community, villainizing those that they do not agree with. It was rooted in othering other communities that they don't align with. And as a Christian, the part that was really hurtful and harmful, at least for me, I can't speak for all Christians that are progressive, was their misuse of the Bible in order to perpetuate their agenda. They used a specific verse about Jesus telling his disciples to go to the festival without him, meaning, in this case, metaphorically, go to the actual Super Bowl performance without me, and isolating those and villainizing those who are a part of the actual Super Bowl performance. Because in the Bible, Christ was hated by those at the festival, if that makes sense. And the part of this that's so harmful is that they will pick and choose parts of the Bible to push their narrative while not looking at the entire story and not looking at the full picture, intentionally ignoring key contexts so that it would fit their narrative. So for instance, in this part of the Bible, in this story, Christ was running for his life. He was fleeing and isolating himself because he did not feel like he was safe due to political leaders and the state. The state was looking for him and trying to find him so that they could arrest him and persecute him. His life would be at risk, and so he was fleeing and hiding, much like immigrant communities recently in the United States. In Christ's eyes, the government and the state is the enemy, persecuting anyone that's remotely different, threatening anyone that does not belong to their community, threatening anyone that does not share their perspective, or threatening anyone that honestly is a threat to their narrative and their power. I think the misuse of the Bible in order to push an agenda, in order to fearmonger, in order to, have this fabricated or fake patriotism, right, to other certain communities is so harmful. But back to the main point. The clear distinction between the two, between love and hate, community and individualism, right? Togetherness versus isolation, trying to welcome everybody. Meanwhile, on this side, they're trying to isolate and villainize everybody else. With Bad Bunny's performance, he was highlighting the fact that we are all American, right? Meanwhile, in TPUSA, there's only one right way of being American, and you can guess what that is. And when you're looking at the psychological piece of this, right, when you're analyzing human behavior in the way that I love to do, it really comes down to feeling threatened because your community no longer holds power. Your community is no longer the majority. And when your community is no longer a majority, that is seen as a threat to your power. That is seen as a threat to privilege that you've held in this country for generations. Instead of spreading the wealth and allowing everyone to live in harmony, allowing everyone to have privileges and access to resources and to genuinely feel safe and included, you want to hoard all of that power and privilege for yourself. which is why things like immigration is a huge threat to the right, a huge threat to primarily white communities in the Conservative Party, because equality is the biggest threat to those who want to hold on to their privilege. They want to feel special. They want an exclusive club. They want to feel like they are better than others. And the sad part is, if you feel like you need to harm or discriminate or to villainize others or to keep them at the bottom to help you feel like you're good enough, to help you feel like you're deserving or worthy, what does that say about you? It's the exact same reason why the classic bully in high school wanted to have her own table, wanted to have her own clique, and wanted to maintain the social hierarchy in the school system. Because if there are not individuals at the bottom, there is no top. Instead of connecting with those who are different from you and seeing the strengths that unity and diversity brings, you see it as a weakness. Not because you have any proof that it's a weakness, but because you want to hold on to your own privilege and your own status. When there's one group that really prioritizes unity, togetherness, and love, and there's another group that perpetuates hate, division, and exclusivity, it's clear as day which side you should be on.